There is a secret hidden in every hardware store today, a $2 copper coil that heats your home all winter. No electricity, no gas bills, and no utility company involved. Just copper, sunlight, and a method they stopped teaching. American families paid $200 last winter just to keep their homes warm during the cold months. This copper panel costs $5 to build at home. No moving parts, no wiring, no permits, and no contractor needed. It heats water to 175 degrees in the sun using nothing but copper tubing and 15 minutes of daylight. The Romans used the same principle 2,000 years ago. American engineers installed it in thousands of homes in the 50s. Then in 1970, something changed and it disappeared. Almost no one living today has learned that this method exists. Welcome to the vault of suppressed knowledge. Subscribe and hit the bell if this information is important to you. This is where we unlock what the energy industry kept under lock and key. The story doesn't start in a lab or a government research archive. It begins under the stone floors of a Roman villa long ago. In the 1st century, Roman engineers built the Hippocrates system. Stone channels carried heat under the floors and through thick walls. Entire buildings were kept warm without open fires burning inside. No smoke, no wood, and no combustion of any kind was required at all. Pure radiant heat rising silently from the ground. When archaeologists discovered Pompeii in the 19th century, they found copper pipe fittings still intact under the ruins, 2,000 years underground, with zero corrosion and zero deterioration. The Roman armies took this heating method throughout Europe as they built winter camps and forts in the coldest regions. By the Middle Ages, this knowledge had been completely erased, buried under centuries of coal, smoke, and open hearth fires. Then in 1870, a Scottish engineer named Bofield reconstructed the ancient method from scratch using only copper tubing. Copper conducts heat at 401 watts per meter. That's the highest thermal rating of any common metal available. Nothing transfers heat through a building the way copper does. Bofield tested his system in a Glasgow factory in winter. Workers who had never been warm during a cold season before suddenly felt a comfortable warmth in every room of the building, even with outside temperatures dropping below freezing. The system used only hot water moving through the copper pipes. No electricity, no gas, and no monthly bills arriving in the mail. By 1920, this design had made its way to the United States. Builders began using passive copper heat in homes across the country, throughout the Northeast, the Midwest, and the growing new suburbs. Before continuing, today I want to offer you something valuable. I've compiled everything the energy industry buried about this method, ready and waiting for you right now. This includes blueprints for copper solar panels with full dimensions and materials, along with step-by-step instructions any homeowner can follow this weekend. You'll find the installation trick that doubles the performance of your copper panel and historical records on passive systems that disappeared after 1970. There are savings calculations showing exactly how much this is worth per year, with over 10 complete guides in one place and no filler content. The link is in the description or scan the QR code on your screen. Stay here as this video has just begun. In 1945, entire neighborhoods sprouted up in Levittown. Every house had copper radiant heating built into the concrete floor. Hot water moved through copper pipes in the slab day and night. The floor became a silent radiator, heating every room from below. The heat rose evenly, reaching every corner without any drafts. There were no cold walls, no forced air, and no dry heat blowing from above. Families in those houses paid a fraction of what neighbors using conventional gas and electric systems paid each month. Some of those copper systems installed in 1952 are still running perfectly today without a single part ever being replaced. That's 70 years of reliable heat, zero maintenance, and zero failures. If you've made it this far, you already know more about home heating than 99% of homeowners in this entire country. Subscribe and share with someone who is still paying $200 a year for something that should cost almost nothing to operate and maintain. Everything is inside the vault right now. Link in the description. The next section is the most critical part of this entire video. This is where the numbers become impossible for anyone to deny. The thermal conductivity of copper stands at 401 watts per meter per Kelvin, the highest rating of any common metal. Steel conducts heat at only 50 watts per meter per Kelvin. The PEX plastic tubing used in most new homes today conducts heat at only 0.99 watts per meter. That's near zero transfer. Copper moves heat more than 2,000 times faster than PEX. It's not a small difference. It's an entirely different category. A copper coil moves heat 1,000 times better than plastic. A $5 DIY copper panel heats a full water tank daily. Water heating accounts for 30 to 40% of your energy bill. Eliminate that cost and you've already cut your bill almost in half. Research by heating engineers confirms that passive copper systems reduce water heating costs by up to 80% each year. The system works even when outside temperatures drop to 35 degrees. On cloudy days, the copper panel still generates useful heat output. Why then does nobody know this works, and why is it never taught? Why did builders in 1980 stop using copper heat entirely? The answer is $300 billion a year in revenue. That's the size of the annual U.S. residential energy market. Every gas boiler sold creates a paying customer for decades to come. Every gas line connected means a bill arriving every month. The energy industry doesn't sell heat, it sells dependency. A passive copper solar panel eliminates that dependency entirely. You can't patent sunlight falling on a black-painted copper pipe. You can't charge a meter fee for hot water rising through copper. You can't create a service contract around a coil and a glass panel. The entire energy business model requires you to remain dependent. It requires a monthly meter, a quarterly inspection, and an annual tune-up. A $5 copper panel on your roof threatens all that revenue. It was never going to be taught in any school or promoted anywhere. In 1972, the U.S. government commissioned a full report on passive solar heating for all residential housing. The study found that adopting passive copper could reduce national energy use by 35% in all American homes combined. That report was shelved, tucked away, and never made public. A year later, the 1973 oil embargo hit. Energy prices tripled across the country in a matter of weeks. The government responded by expanding natural gas pipelines to every new suburb that was being built and developed in the nation. Copper radiant systems were quietly phased out of all building codes. Plastic alternatives that required continuous energy replaced them. By 1980, copper heating had disappeared from trade schools. No new generation of builders ever learned that the method had existed. This is what the industry hoped you would never discover for yourself. A solar thermal copper panel costs between $5 and $15. All the materials needed are available at any hardware store right now. No permits are required, no licensed contractor is needed, and no inspections are necessary. The system produces usable hot water up to 10 months a year in most of the continental United States under normal conditions. Here is exactly how to build it yourself this coming weekend at home. Get a roll of 3 or 8-inch copper tubing about 20 feet long. Cut a piece of 1 or 2-inch plywood to 24 mm 24. Use matte black spray paint rated for high heat exterior applications. Cut a piece of glass or clear acrylic to match the size of the plywood. Get basic push-to-connect copper fittings that don't require soldering. Paint the entire copper coil matte black and let it dry completely first. Lay the coil in an S shape over the plywood and secure it in place. Place the glass panel over the coil with a 1/2-inch air gap underneath. Mount the finished panel facing south at your local latitude angle. Connect the water inlet at the bottom and the outlet at the top end of the coil. Run the outlet line to your water heater as a preheat supply line. The sun heats the copper, and the copper heats the water before it reaches the heater. Your heater works less, and your gas bill drops every month after that. A homeowner in Ohio cut her gas bill by 62% last winter after installing 2 copper panels on her south-facing garage roof. A retired builder in Tennessee set up the entire system one afternoon and hasn't paid a full heating bill in the 3 winters since. This knowledge didn't disappear because it failed or stopped working. It disappeared because it worked too well for the industry to allow it. You can't put a meter on sunlight. You can't bill copper for conducting heat. And what you can't bill will always be buried by those who pass you the bill. This is the method they stopped teaching after 1970. This is what was removed from building codes and erased from schools. $5 worth of copper in an afternoon can give it back to you now. The full blueprint is available today, including every measurement, every connection, and every efficiency tip. The link is in the description or scan the QR code on your screen. This knowledge didn't die. It was waiting for someone to find it, waiting for someone to open the vault and pull it back out. If this story has changed the way you look at simple materials at your local hardware store, please subscribe and like the channel. We are bringing to light the history and technology that they worked so hard to bury. Let's build a more independent future together. The next vault of forgotten knowledge will open very soon.